Hello, everybody. We're gonna get Hymsuen and we're gonna start. If not, I'll use my computer and send him an invitation. Doom, 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 doom. Hello.
Oh, it worked.
Hello.
There we go. Wait
Hello.
in, wait in,
How,
wait in. What's going on?
how's life?
It's all good, man. We're still in lockdown at the moment. Um, yeah, not really much is happening at this moment in time. Um, yeah, all the gyms are shut. And I think we just got announced yesterday that we can reopen, well, gyms reopening, I think the 12th of April. So, um, yeah, it's a long journey, man, with that. Well, you
Is
guys are
that
all right, no?
yeah, it's okay. Is that why your PS5 is very important to you now?
Do you know what? It's still in the same place that it was. Haven't
Uh,
actually touched it. I've been quite busy with work, etc. But yeah, I think I've just accepted that I'm more of the hype man than actually the thing itself. Like trying to get it is more of a um more interesting than actually the thing itself. But really, I got it for prep. So, towards the end of prep, when you are typically the most hungry, you just
mm,
need to keep your mind occupied. And I think, you know, find whatever you can possibly to do that. Last time I was playing Zelda. That really helped a lot. Yeah, that's the only reason why I got it. And I'm not really quite there yet in terms of the food focus side of things. So I know once it does happen, I'll definitely be on that a little bit more if I'm not as busy. Yeah.
so like
You
for
don't game anymore, do you? You used
um,
to
I
love
watch
it, right?
I watch games like I've
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a 35-hour video which I watched.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. It's so easy to just get lost when you game, right? You can play a game like for the whole day and just not eat. And
Mm,
basically that's prep, right? It's
yeah.
controlled starvation, so you need to somehow find a way to do it. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think
That's why I think like gamers can make good dieters because you're playing for like hours. You're
yeah,
like, oh, I missed a meal or two, like intermittent fasting immediately.
yeah, pretty much. But then I don't know, you get these gamers that also snack right at the same time too.
Mm,
So you got to find the balance between it.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. All right. So for those that don't know you, can you kind of like give your explain to people like who you are, what you do?
all right, damn. For people who don't know me, so yeah, I'm Hymsuen. Um, Originally, well, I am born in the UK, but my parents are Chinese, so you know that's why I sound different to everyone else when you see my face. And yeah, I used to compete in powerlifting. Moved over into bodybuilding. Um, in terms of work-wise, doing online coaching at the moment. I was doing came to Singapore. So this is how I met Melvin. So I came to Singapore originally to uh, work at a gym to help open it up, body transformation gym, and just been in the industry for I think 8 years now. Yeah, so it's been a long time, man. Uh,
So, like with the first, what got you into powerlifting, and then eventually what got you from being a powerlifter to a bodybuilder?
so very strange story with my powerlifting, I guess. When I first started training, it was more for like most people, it was more for aesthetics. So I was probably like 60 kilos at school. I think I was like 17, 18 years old. And I guess that's the time when you start to, buy clothes. you start to take more a thought process, I guess, in terms of how you look in clothes. I was always seeing myself as, I'd buy a small t-shirt and it'd be like wearing me. And I was just like, oh no, I don't want to look like this anymore. So that's why I started kind of training. That's why I, started lifting weights. And throughout that process, I just realized that I really enjoyed it and I kept doing it. Uh, it was at uni that we needed to do like a work placement kind of thing. So um, I applied to work at this gym called Genesis Gym, which I still go to today, actually. Well, not right now due to lockdown, but yeah, I still train there. And I that's that gym was basically a powerlifting gym. So the owner, he is a powerlifter, extremely good powerlifter, and they had a massive team over there that was doing powerlifting. And uh, I think I said to him at the time there was their whole team was prepping for the British. So I asked him what was like how do you get involved with this? This looks fun. And he said to me, so what do you lift? And I've never maxed out before, right? I said to him, have no idea. So in we go. He was like, okay, let's see how you get on. He maxed me out on the squat. I think I squatted. I think it was I did 140, and then he was like, oh, stick this belt on. Put a belt on. Squatted like 160, and he was like, oh, chuck these knee wraps on, and I squatted I think 190 or something like that. He was like, oh damn, that's good. And then we benched. I hit. I think it was like 100 kilo bench or whatever. I was super light. Um, and Then when it came to I think it was the Friday, we were deadlifting. He was like, "Oh, these guys they're all doing openers, so they're practicing their openers." And there was another guy that was in the same weight class as me. He was like, "Oh, just join him. Just do whatever he's doing." And I just lifted whatever he did, and I think I deadlifted like 212 or something in the gym. And he was like, "Okay, you're strong. You're in." So I think the following week was like the deload week, and then the week after was comp. So I didn't really train for it. And we went, yeah, straight in. And from that moment, that was when, um, yeah, I just got into powerlifting. And I think I did that for probably 4 or 5 years. And I was competing, quite regularly, just for the fun, enjoyed it. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how I got into powerlifting. And then in terms of, bodybuilding, I think I was at a time, obviously, we were working together in Singapore, and I went back to compete to do the British finals I think it was 2015. Um, and that was really the last time I competed because I'd won that when I got back, and I didn't really have a goal anymore after I did that. You know, I've won the 75 kilo weight class like multiple times. I've been to Worlds, won the overall at Worlds, um, and I think for me there just wasn't really a goal anymore of uh, nothing that really kind of excited me to continue to do powerlifting. And then there was also a lot of people who dropped out that I used to be friends with or I was friends with, and they dropped out of powerlifting and I no longer competed. So it didn't have that same attraction to it that it once did. And then also in terms of, I was in Singapore as well. So it wasn't like there was many, uh, well, powerlifting wasn't as big as it is now, put it that way, when I first came to Singapore. Um, the federation's different, loads of excuses. But yeah, I lost a lot of love for it. And I also like one of the big pet peeves for me is just you know s sitting around and being in one rack for like the whole 2 3 hours, and that I didn't really like that. I even when I did powerlifting, I never really um enjoyed sitting around and you know being in the same squat rack for the whole hour. There's so many other machines in the gyms you can use, and yeah, I just fell out of love with it. And I think at the time, so Seb was doing the photo shoot, right? Which kind of why that gym now does photo shoots, right? Because we kind of started it off, and I just said, look, I've never like we put all of our clients through, good diets and preps towards, going transformations, and I thought I've always dieted for weight cuts. I've never dieted to look better, and I just went into it and said, okay, let me try and do a photo shoot. I've never done a diet. Let me embrace it, and I'm sure I can learn a bit more from it. And it kind of all started from there. After the first photo shoot, I dropped a lot of weight, and it kind of unveiled, the physique that you have underneath, and you realize that actually I'm not as big as I thought I was. A lot of it was body fat, and then it was okay. Let's push towards more size. And I also got invited down to do the Musclemania judging, right? Because they were lacking judges, so I was there as a judge. And looking up after the photo shoot, I was thinking, I could beat some of these guys. I could do it. And the following year, I competed in Musclemania. Obviously, came last. And yeah, just kind of got hooked from that position. And it's always been bodybuilding. It kind of excites me now, and it keeps my training. It keeps the goal there, right? To keep training. Otherwise, it's very easy to, just flake away and not, just easy to not train, not do anything. Yeah,
And
this has been a long journey.
with your bodybuilding goal, is it to win a pro card or is it something like that?
Yeah, so it's a weird one. I've been asked this a lot, and I think one of the biggest reasons why, I've made so much progress, is because I've never really put a time frame on anything that I do. So even when I did started powerlifting, I started it for the reason of I really enjoyed it. I like training, and it something to challenge me rather than saying, "Oh, I want to win this." I focused on the processes and the enjoyment factor of it rather than actual competing and winning. Which a lot of people I find they focus on the outcome rather than the processes, right? Which there can only be one winner,
Mm.
right? And if you focus on winning that much, of course it's nice to win, right? But if you focus on winning that much, you're going to lose a lot of love for whatever you do very, very quickly because, like I said, there's only one person that's going to win. And if you're not that individual, then you're going to fall out of love and not do it. So I think that was a big thing for me. I've never put a time frame. So same with bodybuilding. I've never said, look, I want to win my pro card in this year or that year. I want to win, this competition. Of course, it's nice to win, but ultimately, I'm not really that fast. I think I have a look that I want to look like in mind, and really, until I achieve that, I'm not going to be happy. So even if I get a pro card and I haven't achieved that look, it's still, not really there. So I think my main goal is just right now is to look the best I can, obviously for the finals this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it does happen. But there's definitely a look that I want to achieve, and if I look my best, then I'm going to be happy. If it means that I win along the way, then that'll be cool too. But if I don't win my pro card, if I don't win a show this year, it's not like I'm gonna, lose sleep over it. I'm not gonna cry over it. I'm still gonna keep going and keep doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
because I'm not really just in it to win. I'm in it for the long run, and I think that that kind of delayed, um, gratification is really important. Um, and I think a lot of people don't have that delayed gratification. We want things instantly. We want it right now, right? And I think you know I've never from when I started, I've never like even muttered the words, how long before I, look like this, or how long before I get my pro card, or when will I, do this, which is very, very common now. Before you even started, you'll get people is like before you even do a transformation, like, oh, how long is it before I until I look this way? It's like we haven't even started yet, and you're already thinking about the end, you know. So that's kind of my thought process in terms of delayed gratification. But um, I'm always in things for the long run. I invest. I like investing time into things because it's all more satisfying too. Yeah.
And then when it comes to training, right? Like how is powerlifting training different from say bodybuilding training?
Um, I think obviously powerlifting is mainly the big three, right? So there's big emphasis, there's big focus on squat, bench, deadlift, and you don't really need to do those exercises if you want to grow and build muscle. I think it gets lost in translation where everyone thinks that they need to do these exercises. You get these like infographics. It's like the best exercises for this, and always the best exercise for legs is squat, apparently, and always the best exercise for back is a deadlift, and always the best exercise for chest is the bench press, which is not the case for most people. Um, and I think yes, you will grow and you will build you can build a decent physique from doing those lifts, but I've also seen a lot of people that haven't built a good physique from just doing those lifts. And you know I think it just really depends on your mechanics, how well you can set up for certain exercises. If you're, you know, uh, if you're not someone that has good levers to squat, and you're forcing yourself to squat, and you end up, doing low bar or whatever, you're leaning super far forward. How much of your legs are you really using in that movement? And people, they'll do these workouts over and over and over again, year after year, and their legs don't grow. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're squatting all the time and it's probably not a great exercise for you, or they'll do the squats and they'll feel like the next day, like, oh, my back's really sore. Your limiting factor is your back. You're not training your legs, you're training your back. Even like you can't just I think the biggest thing that I've learned is you don't associate this movement with a muscle. So just because you're squatting doesn't mean that you're biasing, your quads, or you're biasing um, your legs even. Of course your legs are going to be involved, but um, there's a large proportion of people that squat and they feel their back, right? Or they deadlift and they don't grow a back. Like my deadlift is up there, man. It's elite. 320 deadlift. I have zero back from that, zero development. Or I have some, like I've got some thick erectors, but there's no lats involved in back at all. It gives me some good thickness in terms of my upper traps, my erectors, but ultimately it's not going to give you that massive, Dorian Yates width that we all think it does, right? Same with bench press. I bench press for years. Um, no chest development from that, unfortunately. And that's me taking that bench press from 100 kilos to 100, 55 kilos. Um, that's taking my deadlift from 230 up to 320. and there's zero back kind of development there. So I think, yeah, with bodybuilding training, it needs to be a bit more accurate. It needs to be a little bit more specific towards your goals and understanding that, right? Um, and I guess understanding that, just strength alone is it doesn't necessarily mean size. So just because you are stronger, um, if you're not moving the weight accurately, if you're not um, standardizing your form, uh, that's also not going to come with any size growth, right? Because bodybuilding isn't just moving weights from A to B. You still have to contract. Still have to standardize your form. But once you standardize your form, once you understand how to contract, control the weight, of course, getting stronger is going to yield some better results. But it doesn't necessarily mean, yeah, you have to be the strongest person. Yeah.
So, like from that, like in continuation of that, like what do you say are the mistakes that a lot of people make during muscle building phase, especially in these past few years, you've been in more commercial gyms than before. So,
Yeah. Um, I think, you know, there's so many, right, that people make. Just depends on what level that you're at. I think, like we mentioned, that delayed gratification thing earlier. That's huge, right? So people not thinking about the end goal or the end result before they've even put in any hours of work. Um, you have to have that delayed gratification if you want to grow muscle. Bodybuilding isn't a sprint. It's 100%. It's going to be a marathon, and it takes a long time to build muscle. And I think because of that, um, people lose interest very quickly, right? And you have to get used to doing the things repetitively over and over again. That that kind of is how you uh, get better at something. That's how you improve on anything. You just have to, yeah, keep doing things over and over again. I think, yeah, going back, like that's I do think that's one of the biggest mistakes. And people, I think back in the day it was protein shakes, right? We all used to nail a protein shake, and that was like you the first day you go to the gym, is okay. Well, I'm going to the gym now. In order for me to grow, I need to take some protein powder, right? But now it's like, well, I go to the gym. My first thing is like, what's the first cycle that I'm gonna do? And then protein powders like secondary. It's like you haven't even got your ducks in a row. You haven't even put in effort yet, and you're already talking about, abusing performance enhancers. I think, you need to make a good dent in your training experience before you can even consider these things. I'm 12 years in, uh, and I have no intention to do that either. So yeah, I guess long-winded answer on that.
now you also, I think you need to tell people that you're in a natural federation too. So,
Yeah, yeah, that
so
too. But I mean, you know, there's so many mistakes that people make, right? I think just having some sort of guidance as well. If you're not sure, it's one of the things that people always do is they'll go into the gym thinking, okay, I can just wing it, and I can I can get to where I need to be with it. It's like when your car breaks down, you don't wing it. You don't pop off open the front of it and start fiddling around with it. And it's the same with training, right? If you're not sure what you need to do, you're not sure about nutrition, um, seek help. Find someone that can really help you. Find someone that's experienced, has a good, doesn't just like look good, but has experience in terms of clients, um, that can help you to get there. Because just because someone's a fantastic bodybuilder, someone's a fantastic athlete, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a great coach, right? I think they yield uh, similar traits, but not always the case with most. So it's important to find someone that can really help you out. And I think if I went back and did it myself again, I would definitely, if I had someone there to help me out, it would fast track me so much more. I wouldn't have wasted, so many years of training, etc. Um, so definitely, yeah, if you're struggling um, to improve, you feel like you're spinning your wheels constantly, man, seek help. And yes, a good coach may cost you, a bit of money, but the amount of time that you save, man, that's priceless, man. You spending all this money on, supplements that absolutely do nothing for your physique. Whereas if you actually invested in a coach to tell you, look, this is, you know, some direction, you should do this, don't do that. Stay on this path because a lot of it is very, very simple. We all overcomplicate things, right? Um, we think, okay, well, I need to, do you learn about these, resistance profiles, etc. We need to, um, take these supplements. We need to do this diet. But really, it's just if you just did the fundamentals, did the basics, well, over and over, repeatedly, you're going to get to the end goal, right? But it's because people read a little bit here, read a little bit there, and they get brushed alongside different paths, and they lose track of what is actually the most important thing. I think it's Pareto's rule, right? I don't know if you've heard of it. So it's like 80% of your result comes from 20% of your actions, right? And for most people, if it's muscle building, 20% of those actions is just making sure that, you know, you're training with effort, training with intent, and sticking by with having some sort of surplus, right? And doing that for long enough. Um, but people get lost and they don't have that delayed gratification. They don't master that art of turning up every day. You know, you're thinking of resistance profiles, you're thinking of all these different supplements, you're thinking of all this other crap, right? That yes, it's cool, it works, right? But if you don't have the fundamental thing of putting in effort, I look at your reps, and when you train, you're doing your your form is horrible, or when you do the exercise, you look like you could do probably 20 more reps when you finish, right? You're never going to grow muscle that way. You have to put in effort. Um, Even those who do reps and reserve, they're still going to gain a lot of muscle because they are true to it. But if you're somebody that when you finish that movement, it's very easy to see like, well, my first rep looked like this at this speed. My last rep is still the same speed. Well, you probably haven't put enough effort in, and you need to go until that last rep looks like you're doing it in slow motion, but you're trying to go as fast as you can, right? And I think effort and consistency, that's going to trump anything else. Of course, the resistance profiles and etc. They'll make a difference, but um, I would argue that you, until you produce that effort, you're never going to grow to the extent that you potentially could. Which is why a lot of they deem it like the bros that just train in gym, have no idea what they're doing. They just do everything. They put in tremendous amount of effort, and it shows on their physiques too. So I would, I think effort, consistency is going to be a number one key for people to grow. And until you can exert that, until you can keep going with that, um, don't look anywhere else. Yeah.
And then, since we talked about certain topics, like so, with regards to let's say you being in a natural federation and you seeing
Mm,
like people on let's say performance enhancement drugs, like do you
mm.
see results more drastically or more slower between the both, or
I mean, the whole premise of performance enhancing is so that it speeds up the
mm,
process, right? So technically you should see it, right?
mm,
But I think I've seen it. There's a lot of people that this I guess this comes down to the whole debate, right? Where people look at you and think, are you natty or not, right? And they're like, well, he's definitely not because they're like, well, he's made so much progress, and I'm taking stuff and I haven't made that much progress. When it's like that is not the variable that makes the biggest difference. It's still going to be effort, the way you train, etc. makes a huge difference. But there, like if you're not doing those things properly, it doesn't matter. Even if you're, you know, taking performance classes, you're not going to produce the same results. But there is some research. There was one which I found very demoralizing. It was, I think it was a study. It was a 10-week study or something like that. There was guys who didn't didn't train at all, but took performance enhancers, versus those who were natural but trained for 10 weeks or something like that. And the guys who didn't train at all and took performance enhancers, I think they either grew or held more muscle than the other group. And I was just like, oh man, that sucks. But yeah, if you're a non-responder to it, that's really sad too.
So, is there any specific reason why you're not going that route, or why you want to remain a natural athlete?
Um, I'll be lying if I didn't say I never thought about it, right? Um, but I think for me, it's a lot of the unknown. Um, it's I think the fact that I'm able to produce some of the results that I've done naturally as well, that's very motivating. So when I first started training, I was competing against guys that were, you know, um, taking performance enhancers, and I would still win. Um, I don't know if it was an age thing. Um, when you're younger, it makes less of a difference. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was pretty cool to see that, and that's really motivating. I took a lot of well, I still do. I take a lot of confidence from that to be like, yeah, man, natural gains here, and the fact that you can still build a tremendous amount of muscle um, by remaining natural too. Um, and I think it's more relatable. Uh, so I like that that aspect of it. And then on the other side, it's like you hear all the horror stories, where it's still unknown. I don't really know, what's the crack with it. I'm not educated enough in terms of that stuff to be like, yo, this is safe or it's not safe. And then it's quite scary, right, to have to to inject yourself or whatever. Um, and in addition, I do want to have kids in the future, so uh, if it's on you to be like, if there's like, not to say that you can't have kids, but if your kid is like has some sort of issue because of that, man, that's you got to take that to your grave, man. And I don't know if I'm willing um to take ownership of that, like if it was my own reason for that. So yeah, those are, I guess, the main reasons for me not doing it. Um, but yeah, I think of it before, of course, but um, I'm I'm very happy that I didn't, and may that continue. Yeah.
So, as you have seen, like, because you've been in so many countries like UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, like, is from what I see, the non-tested bodybuilding is so much bigger in the UK compared to Singapore. If you have seen the
Mm.
difference, like, why do you think so?
I'm not sure, um, but I think a lot of the best amateur natural bodybuilders, they're all in the UK, man. I think either UK or Germany. Those guys are like elite, dude. Um, I don't know if it's how strict it is, like how only one person in the UK gets their pro card every year. Um, in the UK anyway. Um, And I don't know if it's that creates that. We also have some absolute animals, like obviously Jordan Peters. Um, he's paved the way a lot for the bodybuilding knowledge, etc., and training hard. We had a lot of guys that were the pros, and they're just all about heavy duty training with Dorian Yates, etc. So I don't know if that's a big factor of why the guys train the way they do and the way they are. I think Singapore is still quite raw with it. It's still very green. Um, I had one guy when I was competing in Singapore where he was like, "So," um, I said, "Oh, so your friend looks good, man, but he's a little bit small." And he was like, "Yeah, because he's natural." And I was like, "What's that?" Or or there was another one where he said, "Oh, so you can build muscle naturally?" It's like a shock. So, um, I think it's more up there now, but you guys didn't have any like drug-free federations in Singapore whatsoever for a long time, right?
Mm.
Um, and I think obviously that doesn't help because when you do compete, you're like, well, if you're natural, you stand on stage and you feel like, well, I can't compete. It's like it's boring, right? And maybe there's not enough role models there uh, that represent it because in the UK we've got like champions, man, like world champions. Like I think Rich Gozdecki, he's won the WNBF Worlds like multiple times. We've got David Kay, he's still killing it in the BNBF and the DFAC federation. So um, yeah, we've got some really good role models in terms of that. They promote natural bodybuilding, but maybe Singapore's just missing that one person that is a really up there elite natural pro that can, uh, I guess, hold the flag for it. But I think it's improving. I would say, obviously, I don't know if you're still involved with it. I don't know if you're still running the competitions, etc. But man, that's awesome, dude. Um, and at least there's a platform for it. Uh, and then you can actually go out and compete, and people feel like, okay, this is somewhere that I can actually flourish or somewhere that I can compete. When there's no platform for it, of course, it's not going to grow. It's like powerlifting too, right? When we first joined, there was only one federation when I first came to Singapore, and it was like a couple of people. Now it's like there's I don't know, I think there's two or three, right, or something like that. So there's quite a lot, and there's more people getting more involved in it. People want to go to worlds, more people, um, I guess, coaching it. So yeah, it's definitely up there with with what people enjoy doing, I guess.
And then with you being Asian, right? Like, do you see a lot
Mm.
of like a bit genetics or size difference when, especially when you compare against like people from the UK, the US? Do you see a very big size difference?
I think size difference in terms of height, maybe. But do you know what? I don't honestly know. Um, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I think everyone has different genetics in terms of their what they're predisposed to, what their if they better body parts are. I think from what I've seen, a lot of like the Chinese, we have very good quads, man. Um, Small upper bodies, but very good quads. Obviously, you're still going to get the outliers. Um, but yeah, we're known for legs. And I think the other competitors in the UK, you got the Caucasian guys, they generally will have better upper bodies. Um, but everyone has different things that they're strong with. I think again, it all comes down to effort. Genetics is something that we can't really control, right? So it's almost irrelevant and almost something that we can't because we can't control it. There's no point in stressing over it. And being like, oh man, my genetics are bad. That's why I can't do this. It's like creating an excuse. I don't like to use it. I rather use it as a something that's going to push you forward, right? So okay, well, I don't have the best genetics, but I'm going to work very, very hard. And it still comes down to that effort thing, right? Where you can still gain incredible amount of muscle tissue if you put the effort in, if you continuously do it. Don't let something which you cannot control at all be the reason that stops you from, doing something that you really enjoy. Yeah,
And then in your with your how long were you in Singapore? 6 years?
I was there for 4 years, man.
4 years. Okay. So with
Long
your
time.
4 years experience in Singapore, like what do you think the people like the gym people are making mistakes with you in your 4 years of the
Phew. I don't know now. I think it's improved a lot.
Mhm.
But I think the educational side in Singapore was lower. Obviously, you brought in a lot of the guys in, like the educators, etc., to upskill people. But I definitely feel like the educational side was uh, lacking. There wasn't maybe people going out to do courses and promoting it. I think uh, that definitely was down. And maybe it was because the time that we came, I guess fitness was still not so prevalent on social media. It's not so easily accessible. So if you're not getting these people in, like Dr. Mike, um, Eric Helms, etc., all those guys, Eugene Teo, whatever, you're it's hard to upskill people, and then the knowledge that you have there, unless you have coaches that are constantly flying out different places to learn, you're not going to improve the knowledge in that within that country, right? So obviously now I feel like it has improved a lot. So people are able, people have been exposed to different things. It's more easy accessible. There's more online courses that people can do. And so, the levels are coming up, right? And there's also more gyms are open, people teaching the right things as well, rather than just, the normal commercial gym you train at Virgin, Active, or wherever, where the guys like, counting the reps like that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I guess the educational side is massive. Um, I can't remember what the question was.
like
Uh,
what do you see like from your years of experience in Singapore? Like what are the mistakes, especially Singaporean or Asians make?
uh, yeah, I think in terms of just training, um, again, the effort, I think it's not just uh, a national thing. It's not just in Singapore. I think it's the same across the board. Um, and just knowing how much effort to apply, right? Uh, I think people, yeah, you get the opposite, right? You get those guys who just absolutely kill it in the gym, and they apply obviously too much effort, and then you get the others that don't apply enough. Um, but it's hard because are we talking about the average gym goer, or are we talking about competitors,
Let's say the average gym goer first.
right? Yeah, I think the average is the same everywhere. They all just kind of make exactly the same mistakes. It's definitely not a national thing, and you'll get the same people making the same mistakes across the board. It'll be, you know, either they don't know what they have to do, so they're just winging it. So they're just kind of going to the gym, they're attending, they're just showing up, but they're not getting the results they need to because they're not sticking to the nutrition. Um, and you'll get obviously people who uh, just try loads of different diets, right, and they keep jumping around different stuff, uh, and then again they're not they're not focusing on the right thing. They think they align the diet with fat loss, right, or muscle gain. It's not the diet, it's the total amount of calories that makes a big difference, right? So if you're looking for fat loss, obviously you need to be in a caloric deficit. It's not necessarily the diet, doesn't it's not necessarily a specific food group. It's you know focusing on the principle of fat loss rather than a method of fat loss, right?
Mhm.
So that's a huge mistake. um and just I think obviously with the knowledge, it's a strategy kind of thing. So a lot of people will, if you don't have good strategies to help people, obviously if you're not experienced enough, then you just tell people, look, just, stay in a caloric deficit or just do this. Whereas some people just need a bit more strategy, they need a bit more structure. Um, they need to be challenged in terms of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, um, and be able to do have that caloric deficit or be able to stick to something, right? Um, and if you don't create that strategy for them, often people, won't be able to do it. So yeah.
As you're speaking about education, like what are you learning currently? Are you learning anything?
Um, I'm actually learning about business currently.
Mm,
So how to kind of excel my business, and it's actually very relatable to how people go about their fitness journeys. So, for example, like I said, it's doing the basic stuff, uh, which is going to get you the bulk of your results, right? So, not looking elsewhere. So, a lot of the time, we start the business, we're looking at, advertisements or, Facebook ads, all that, Instagram ads, when really it's just about, you know, turning up, speaking to people, having like making doing having results with clients, actually working on the service itself and having a good product rather than just selling, right? Because a lot of business courses is always done on selling, right? It's like, how do you sell? How do you get more clients? But really, the key is not to lose your clients, right? Not or to produce a good result, sell an actual product that works, which is what do people come to you for? Right? They come to you for a result, they come to you for fat loss, come to you for transformation, build muscle, and actually, you know, giving them that rather than just, you know, just saying that you are going to give them and then you're providing a shit service.
mm.
And yeah, that's very relatable to just showing up in the gym every day. So uh, those fundamentals are what's going to improve your business, right? And that's the same with fat loss. Those fundamentals of staying in a caloric deficit, making sure you hit your steps, activity, make sure you train. That's what's going to create your fat loss. And hitting those processes daily, not thinking about when is my business going to be six figures? When am I going to get more clients? And actually working on, how are you going to do it, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, so in the business aspect, like, so is that your main focus for this year? I mean, besides the competition.
Yeah, so it's just getting to a phase where I feel I'm very happy with my client base in terms of uh, there's a good constant stream there going. I think that's probably a goal of mine. Uh, and being able to really create, start hitting more transformations again. That definitely always gets me going, get people, you know, getting some serious results, man. Because ultimately, that's why we do what we do. Um, it's not just hitting a number; it's getting the result is, and actually feeling like you are a coach, right? Not just counting reps or you know making a big dent and changing someone's life, right? I think that's my biggest goal, and keep upskilling the business. So, um, there's different things that I want to add into the business to provide um, more help towards the clients, help them along the way. Uh, yeah, which lockdowns really help with. It's giving you more time. Like obviously, I can't go to the gym, so I'm just training at home. I'm actually able to spend more time on the business itself, which is at upskilling it, upgrading it. Creating education pool there. Um, you know, improving the sheets or the app, whatever you're using to track your clients on, um, and yeah, just really improving the service. And that's a big focus, probably even more so than the bodybuilding, I would say this year.
Mm.
Um,
Have you found that like your training is negatively affected due to the lockdown?
uh, I think it's if it's affected it due to time. So okay, I saved that time not having to travel to the gym because usually I used to have to drive like half an hour to get to the gym, right? But I'm taking that same amount of time to twist those dumbbells and reduce, every time I do a new exercise, it's like I have to start from scratch and create this whole new thing, right? And that is a pain in the ass. Um, I think that is the thing that takes the longest. And then just obviously exercise. You can't just move from exercise to exercise really quickly, which I love about the gym. There's instead of having to hold the dumbbells to do a fucking split squat, you can just jump on a hack squat machine, just go in. You can focus on effort rather than stability wise. Um, I don't have to do a lat pull down, from my ceiling. I can I can actually just uh, jump on a lat pull down, be stable. The thigh pads are locked down. I'm staying in that position uh, rather than being lifted up by the or worried that the ceiling's gonna fall down. Uh, yeah, I've only got a set of dumbbells and a Reebok step. That's it. And then I made a lat pull down out of. Originally, it was made out of my hoodie string that was holding the dumbbell up, and this lifting climbing thing pulley. Yeah,
Because I know you're using the iron grip ones, just the metallic, the squarish plates, right?
yeah, yeah.
Do you eventually see yourself getting those automated like adjustable ones?
I tell all my clients to get those. To be fair,
Yeah.
one of my clients in here now, actually, VJ. But yeah, I tell all my clients to get those because it's actually really quick. But the
Mm,
problem with those for me is that they just don't go heavy enough, right? So
mm,
my iron grips are like they are served for one purpose and one type of person, right? Someone
mm.
that needs that kind of load. And for me, I've only got up to 55 kilos, which is heavier than most gyms dumbbells, right? Um, but it's enough for me right now at this moment in time, and that's the only thing. It just takes a bit long, but they are solid and they are very like secure. Like, I don't feel scared that it's going to kill me,
Mm.
uh, which is the main thing. Of course, I'd like a little bit of speed with the clicking ones,
Mm.
but they just don't serve the same purpose for me. I'd
Yeah.
have to, hold both of them in one hand or something.
Yeah,
I
because
would have
like
got a barbell in the squat rack, to be fair. Like
mm,
if I went back and did it again, I would probably save the money on the iron masters. I would get a barbell, a rack, and some plates. I think that's probably what I would have done. So at least I could squat rather than do those bloody split squats.
yeah, and especially due to the weight you need to carry, right? Both hands. It's like
Yeah, that's it, right?
yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to say actually, because I do quite well off squatting, like in terms of my legs. But what my choice? I did consider buying a bar and whatnot, but in the end, I was just like, I don't really need to grow my legs anymore, and upper body is going to be key. So I went, more towards dumbbell. I can do, more rows, etc. Um, and that cable thing that I made is actually very very useful. Yeah.
So one of the few last questions. So you mentioned like legs are your strong points. So like is
Mm.
your frequency of training your legs lesser compared to your upper body?
For a long, long time, it wasn't. I used to just train things quite evenly. Well, I pushed my volume up still on my upper body, but I was still training legs twice a week. And I think realistically, that would just mean that it eats into my recovery. Even though, legs is not connected to upper body, you're still in the gym and you're still taxing your CNS, right? So since last, I think it was since my last contest season, the end of it, I stopped training legs twice a week, and I've only been doing it once a week. And I would say that my legs are still growing. Um, and if you think I only do 7 sets, like for quads across the whole week, and they're still growing, um, which makes you think like maybe I can pull it back even more, and they might still grow. But I do enjoy training legs, which is probably why they do grow too. But once a week right now is enough for me, and I I feel so much better. I think a lot of the, I was laughing with one of my friends the other day, and we were saying I never really had separation in my legs before so early in, and it might just be because um, it was so inflamed before from training it constantly, and it was holding so much water. It's taken like a year and a half for that inflammation to drop. But yeah, I think I've definitely taken a big step back in terms of leg training and uh, prioritize the things that really need prioritizing. Even the way I structure my legs, so my hamstrings are weaker than my quads. So for a long time, I was still doing quads first, always, and now I've just moved straight into hamstrings first and then quads after. They just take, yeah, they just get the last remnants of my energy. But when I have the energy, I'll put majority of my stuff on hamstrings because that's what needs developing more in terms of my legs.
All right.
Yeah.
So the last question, like, so based on you, like, what are your new like? Are there any favorite exercises of yours, or you think, yeah, your favorite exercises or body part now?
I don't know. Um, that's a hard question. I was for this whole off season, I've been really into the dumbbell chest press. Like that's been a big one for me, and I really pushed that hard. It's led to a few injuries, but that's really progressed well for me, and I think it's shown in my chest development this year. Um, and then just for back, I've been doing a lot of like that's been I wouldn't say I enjoy the exercises so much. It's just the learning processes around back training is really interests me, just simply due to like my back being the weakest body part. And I've just taken a very last couple of years. I've taken a massive interest in terms of learning everything I possibly can with back training and how to improve it. Um, I don't know if I can say I found the formula, but my back is definitely growing more than it ever has. Um, and you know, I'm not going to credit one exercise alone, but the principles and thought processes around the training um, has definitely propelled the growth there for sure. Yeah.
And the last question is, where can people find you if they are?
If they want to find me,
Yeah.
they will come to UK. No, no. Just at gym with him. So I think you can click it from here, wherever.
Mm.
Um, on Instagram. Where else can you find me? Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's my main port of call. So yeah, if you're interested in coaching, if you have any questions, um, yeah, just fire me a message at gym with him, IG, and yeah, we'll
How
speak
did
more.
Gym with Him come about?
Do you know what? It was my client that thought of it. So hats off to him. I was always thinking of a name. I could never think of one. And he would just put it in his diary. So when we train, he'd write gym with him. And it just really caught on. So I was like, damn, why don't I just use this? Uh, so yeah, that's how it came about for me. And one of my clients just kept writing in his diary and he just said, look, man, gym with him. And he used to say it every session. So, all right, gym with him. I was like, all right, let's do it.
All
And
right.
yeah, it's catchy, right?
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Like I want to have like I was thinking of one because like mine is Mel video, right? So I can use like my gym,
Yeah,
my workout, but like my gym is
yeah.
already taken. Like, damn.
Uh,
All right.
it takes a long time, I think. A lot of us focus so heavily on it, thinking of a name,
Mm.
but you can always change your name after.
Mm.
It doesn't. You can rebrand it, put whatever you want. Everyone does it.
Mm.
Um, it's the product that is the main thing, right? So don't worry too much about the branding name, whatever.
Yeah.
Just show your face and practice on having an amazing product, and the name will come. It would just flow, right? It took me years to find it, and I didn't even find it. When one of my clients did, so might have to give him royalties for that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, lastly, before you leave, anything you want to say?
No, man. That's pretty much it. Just yeah, if people need me. Um, IG, just hit me up. That's pretty much it, man.
All right,
And
man. Thank you.
no problem. It's been a
Have a great
pleasure.
day. All right. Thanks,
Take it easy,
everybody.
man.
See you, man. Thanks, Simpson.
Peace, peace. How do I get out of this?
There's an X square on top on the right. I think. Am I right?
Okay.
Like, then right.
See you
Yeah.
later, buddy.
You can just, close the app. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for attending. So next week we're gonna have somebody else from Sri Lanka. So next week will be next Thursday. So hope all is well. Thank you for attending, and have a great weekend. Bye bye.